Hello and welcome to the Ed Talks About podcast. I would like to inform you that what you're about to listen to are our views and comments from the host and guests. They only reflect their view and not the community as a whole. I hope you enjoy the podcast. And Eddie, play that witty banter section.
Oh, banter. Let's think of banter stuff.
Oh no! Oh god, put us on the spot. Just like, be funny now.
I order you to be funny now. Insert joke here.
Yeah, insert joke here.
Well, has anyone got a joke? Anyone got a funny thing to talk about? This proves. Well, I was going to say this proves the banter section is actually non-rehearsed. So
all I've got is let's do maths till we're 18. Everyone, thumbs up.
Oh,
what
a funny joke that is.
Yeah, I saw this late last night, and I went, "Oh, our prime minister is a fucking idiot." At least
is that what's been?
Yeah, that's what's been. Yeah, at least he didn't collapse the economy like his predecessor did.
True. Oh well, at least it doesn't apply to us. I ain't doing maths. Fuck that noise.
Even our maths department got really annoyed about it, and that's when I knew it was fucked. When our maths department was like, "No."
Hello everybody, this is Ed Talks About Podcast, a weekly podcast talk about cosplay, Comic-Con, and everything else. I'm your host, Eddie, and this week we're going to talk about burnout in cosplay. We're not burning cosplayers or doing burnouts in cars in cosplay. No, we're talking about that thing where you we'll explain it later in a minute. Joining us on the podcast is Siobhan of Shield Photography and Erin of Ottery Colesis.
Yeah.
I've got to fess something up really, really quickly. When I do that introduction of joining us, I don't know why, but my hands go up in the air in a very gestury way. Like I can see you in the balconies in the auditorium pointing at you, and I'm pointed to one side, then to the other. But there's no one else in my home. You're not here. We're doing it virtually. It's like I'm still pretending it's pandemic 2020. So it's like we're still being socially distant and all that.
It's not like we can see you either.
I can see you.
Oh God. What privilege.
I can always see you.
Must be very boring for you. I don't do much.
It really is quite. If you just jazz it up every so often, that'd be fantastic.
Could you just use that superpower to check on my cats when I'm at work? That'd be great.
No, I don't like pets.
Oh my God, that Jess?
Cancel.
Boring.
Hang on, is Jess your? That's not your partner. That's an animal, right?
That's my cat. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, Jess is after Control. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah. If you need to know what that's about, go check her cosplay page. Bam, you'll see it. Anyway, how are you? Relative to this podcast, it's still like the beginning of January, so Erin, alphabetically, how are you?
I went back to work yesterday, and I still don't know what day it is, so it's going really well.
Today is a Chipperoo day.
I don't know what that means.
It's a Chiwinden day.
Chiwinde.
Chiwinde.
It is definitely a day, I'll give you that.
It's a day with a Y.
And an A and a D.
Yep.
Everything else is possibly a toss-up.
So the holiday season has hit us all very well.
Jesus Christ! Because I go back to work tomorrow, but I was already in work for a day last week, and I just don't know if I had a long break or not. I just really don't know. So yeah, this is gonna be fun for me tomorrow. Anyway, but yes, are you ready to kill people yet? Are you ready to murder anyone?
Officially no. That would get me fired.
If Erin's boss is listening, no.
Oh shit! I still forgot to do the thing I was going to do offline, which was actually checks a message.
fuck's sake.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We
Okay,
interrupt
all
this podcast for Eddie to check his own texts.
right. Hey, I've got important people in my life who send me important things. I need to check these things. All right, it's a TikTok video that my sister sent me. All right, stop it. Stop giving that glaring eye. I can feel that. Stop staring at me. I know. Anyway, Siobhan, how are you? Have you been?
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm all good. I'm still editing, always and forever. That's all I do.
Would it help if I said I've got one project left?
I hate
it's
you.
it's only 15 photos, but I decided not to edit those photos today.
I
Even though I had nothing.
don't know. I don't want to know how many I've got. I went through my Lightroom catalog. I went, oh, I forgot about the shoot completely. From like mid last year.
Hang on. Are you up to at least post summer?
No.
Post June?
Nope.
Easter?
I think I have. I've been going back and forth on one shoot from like last February. That every time I edit it, I hate it, and then I leave it for a couple of weeks, and then I go back to it. And I'm like, no, it's still shit. And so yeah, it spans most of last year.
Siobhan, just do. Let me help you. Select photo, right click, select delete.
Start again.
Yeah, format hard drives, SD cards, the lot, and then just go. Oh, everything got corrupted. Oh no.
I think I'd cry if I deleted everything.
What, of joy?
I don't know. Probably both. Like one half of my face is joyful, the other one's just like absolute despair.
And then someone from the diagnose goes, Siobhan, I have backups. You can carry on editing.
Oh my god. I'm so glad I don't.
That'll hurt you more, won't it?
Probably.
I think we should get on with the topic in hand. So this week we are talking about burnout in cosplay. I think it's something that I'm assuming a good lot of us have experienced. I don't know. I'm guessing. I definitely know I experienced it a couple of months ago, and I'll talk about it from my own perspective. So I think I should do a trigger warning, probably, that if you suffer from burnout or you don't know, just be aware what we're talking about. If it is too much what we're talking about, please feel free to just skip this podcast. You don't need to listen to it. As long as you've downloaded it or at least want to listen to the first 5 seconds, I'm okay with that. Because that's all I want. That's all I just want.
I just want those views, man.
I just want that statistic of viewed. I'm like, cool. That's what I wanted.
Little ding of, oh, someone downloaded it. How exciting!
Yeah. Yay! Oh yes, the constant of ding. Oh, just the one then. Okay, right. So yeah. No, I keep saying there's more than there's about a good it fluctuates. It I don't know if it's because of the Christmas period, but I think I've got a good 30, 40 solid listeners.
Nice.
Well, downloads at least. But I do worry about telling them on me. So, yeah, let's not go down that road. Anyway, we're talking about burnout, and I probably should explain what burnout is. So I Googled it, and I went to a website called mentalhealth-uk.org. And they've got a lovely explanation of what burnout is. So here it is. It is: burnout is a state of physical and emotional exhaustion. It can occur when you experience long-term stress in your job or when you have worked in a physical or emotional draining role for a long time. And it goes on and on and on with like examples and things like that. So I'll ask my guests in a minute what they think burnout is and things like that. But just in case Ash and Elle are listening, I didn't realize. So I was listening to a different podcast called Shit Cosplayers Say, and they did this exact subject last in December. So I'm going to link their podcast to my podcast, so that if anyone's gone, oh, I want to listen to more about podcasts, or I want to hear more professional people talk about burnout, go listen to their one at least. Jesus Christ, I can only imagine the way I edit this this podcast. It's going to be show. Yeah, I know. It's been
No,
a long
no,
time since
it's in your blood. Edit and photo go synonymously together.
honestly, when I edit these 15 photos, I do worry that going, oh, okay, what do I do now? I feel like,
I'll send you some.
I'm okay. Do you really want my editing style on your photos, Siobhan?
I got some tank you can edit.
Fucking bubbles!
Yeah, bubble hell.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Anyway, so I want to ask my guest, and I'll start with Aaron alphabetically because that seems more sensible. That notion of burnout, is there anything you want to add on top of that definition, that meaning? We will talk about experiences and things like that later on, but that definition I mentioned, do you relate to that? Do you understand that, or is there something that you want to build upon that definition?
Yeah, I think burnout is where you give and you give and you give until you literally have nothing else to give. And for people working in a very stressful job or a career that's quite stressful, giving and giving and giving until there's nothing left, something has to give against it, if that makes sense. And it will do it very spectacularly when it does.
Oh, okay then. That's interesting. So it's something that comes out of the blue then, you thinking, or is it something that builds up slowly and then it just, in a sense, pop explodes?
I quite like the frog in boiling water analogy, which is used for domestic violence, but I think it works for quite a lot of mental health issues. If you drop a frog in boiling water, the frog jumps out of the water. If you put the frog in a cold pan and heat it up, the frog doesn't notice it's being boiled alive until there's nothing it can do. I think it creeps up on you like that, and suddenly you're like, oh shit, now what?
Why are you boiling frogs in water?
Because they're delicious. Remember, I am French.
So to go off topic, I did watch a video of like frogs being like, sorry again to trigger anyone, like being dismembered, and like I'm just going, no, for some reason that makes me icky. But like any other animal's fine, but for some reason frogs, no.
You could boil anything else. The analogy still works, but leave the grenouille alone.
A carrot?
That'll do.
For the vegans listening, when you boil a carrot,
it
I want to know
screams.
I just want to know how it jumps out of the pan.
It's a lesser known defense mechanism of the common carrot.
Yeah.
I love the common carrot. Oh, my mistake. Siobhan, do you want to add to that?
I always use, again, I'm going to throw another analogy, is the burning candles at both ends. I always think burning candles at both ends is like a stress thing. But burnout is when you burn the candle from the middle and it just breaks. So I'm very much a middle candle burner.
I don't know. What's my analogy then? I think I'll go with I'll stick with the candle, but I'm burning it from the top, middle, and bottom. Like strike it lucky or strike it rich, whichever version you remember from. Oh God, I'm going to reveal how old I am. I tell people how old I am anyway, but shit, I am old. But yeah, that's the type of thing. That's the type of guy I am. I feel like I tend to like, I'm all in or I'm all not. There'll be days I just sit around and go, this TV hasn't been turned on for a while. Just stare at this glowing box for a while. And there'll be other times going, need to edit the photos, need to do this, I need to do that. So like very, very full on at the moment. Actually, no, am I at the moment? No, I'm actually quite chilled at the moment. I'm, for once, I'm actually quite chilled at the moment. I'm quite doing well. So yes. So
good.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were like, I want to cry every single day, I'd be like, we need an intervention. But no, if you're
I do want to cry, but that's for different reasons.
Oh, that's fine.
So
it's healthy to cry, okay?
Thanks, Siobhan, I think. Do you not want to help me on those? Or is it just burnout? All right, okay, fine.
One thing at a time. Tune in next week.
If you are going to cry, can you like do it away from my hair? Because I don't want it to get all curly and stuff. Just asking.
You can't see this, but my jaws dropped to the ground. Like astonishment.
I have nothing but audacity, Eddie, I'm afraid.
Fuck. That's the audio editing program I use on my PC. But anyway. I told you this podcast is going to be chaos. Let me just jump to the next question now, which is, and I'll start with Siobhan.
Hello.
Hello.
No, sorry.
Hello.
That had big Sesame Street energy. I'm here for it.
And today's letter is B for burnout.
No, Elmo.
Just chaos Elmo, just Raven.
Waving a knife in his hand. Come on, kids! Anyway, have you experienced burnout in either in your personal or professional life? We'll leave cosplay alone for a little bit, but yes, anytime, have you like experienced burnout?
Yes, short answer. No.
Can we have a longer answer?
Yeah. I say in professional life, when I was working retail workers will know this very, very well. Holiday seasons as well that we've just gone through are always the worst, and I mean that as in like the worst capital letters .tm. It can be very stressful, and trying to like plaster that smile on your face 24/7 can really mess with your head, to the point where you do end up just absolutely burning into the ground because you're working overtime, you're working late, you don't get breaks properly, and eventually you just cry a lot. It got to the point in my case where I quit my job at 3 a.m. Because I couldn't take it anymore. Something in my body went, nope, we're not going to do this anymore. And that was it. And then I kind of went into shell shock for about 2 weeks. It's like the burnout truly hit. Right?
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there was like the stress of leaving my job, and then I just kind of went numb and just ceased to function.
So you had the stress of the job, the stress of leaving your job, and then well, you said numbness, euphoria, maybe?
It was more of a fear, but I couldn't quite put my finger on what that fear was. It was kind of like, oh, this has happened, I guess. And then I just stared into space for a long while. Yeah.
Contemplating life's choices
Yeah,
of this or this.
Yeah. Lots of void. Staring into the void stared back.
Oh god, I don't just hate it when the void stares back at you like that.
I know, it's so impersonal. So yeah.
So it just blinks at you and you're like, my dude, what do you want from me?
You're like, and?
Erin, have you, let's move on to you. Have you like experienced like burnout in either in your professional or personal life?
So I was looking up statistics whilst we were getting set up. I'm a teacher, I've said it before on the podcast. We have a 40% dropout rate for trainees.
Yikes.
So imagine there's 10 obviously in a class, only 6 of them are going to graduate and become a fully fledged teacher. And our departures, this is from today, has gone up by 12.5% of people leaving the profession this year.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Is that due to burnout or just other? I hope you don't mind me asking.
Oh no, there's a lot of reasons people will leave, but a lot of the reasons that we're seeing are stress, burnout, lack of like recognition. Because during COVID, nurses got clapped, which was great. The NHS was clapped. Teachers were working from home. I was working 14-hour days, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. because I had no commute to break up, going to work and coming home. Normally I commute 45 minutes a day and that turns my brain off. I was working 14-hour days teaching from home, and the media were vicious.
Jeez.
They were telling how lazy we were and how we weren't doing enough. And now we're back at school. The government snuck a law in where if a child is suspended or off, we have to provide the same quality teaching to them as we would if they were in front of us, which is impossible. That's just impossible. So
bloody hell.
During COVID, I remember at one point Alan went, "You are calling in sick tomorrow," and he turned the computer off and unplugged it. Wow. So I literally could not do my lessons because he was like, "You have worked 2 weeks straight. You need to stop." Wow. I didn't quit because I love my job and I really do. But it took he went, "You're stopping now. That's it. You're stopping."
Jesus.
Can I ask what year you teach?
So I teach secondary. I teach year 7 to year 11. And where a lot of people, and I worked retail in winter, the burnout is winter. For me, burnout is the summer when the 11s have their exams, and it is
Oh god, yeah.
stress.
Hang on. So before we carry on, what is the difference then in your experience, in how you understand it, the difference between stressed and burnout?
So for me, I can function if I'm stressed. Like if I've got a looming deadline, which I do, I have a deadline tomorrow to import the mock data for year 11s. I can get it done. It's fine. Burnout is when it is all piled up to the point where I don't even know where to start, and I just collapse into a puddle of I can't do this, so I'm not going to.
Oh, okay then. Okay. Siobhan, is that something that you share, or is it something
Yeah.
you've got a different definition in your head?
I can work in stressful situations. I can, pull things together, but it's that sort of aftermath of where you're not quite human and you're like, oh, okay, now I need to try and function, and your body just goes, no, we're not, no. No thought, head empty, just sit. It's that sort of shell shock
That's
almost.
interesting. I don't know then if what I experienced last year is burnout or just exhaustion. Maybe I don't know. We'll discuss about that later. It's really weird because I don't feel like in my professional life I've ever been burnt out, but I think the only burnt out I've had is it's a little bit relating to cosplay, cosplay photography, and I don't know if I want to ready to talk about that just yet, but I can't. Yeah, it's weird. So, all right, let's start talking about it. And I'll start with Erin again because I want to give Siobhan a wide platform for when we get to her.
She's gonna talk a while.
She's gonna talk a while. That's
Yeah.
right. Erin, has cosplay itself helped you with burnout, or do you think it has somewhat contributed to burnout for you in your way of life?
I think it's this double-edged sword, really, where in my work I teach English, so I'm quite creative anyway, which is helpful. But I get to be more creative and make things, and I get to see things coming together, and I get to work with my mum. Me and my mum design all the costumes that we make together. We sit and we make them together, so it's time I get to spend with my mum. But then things like Cos Expo coming up in April, and I've not even started the costume that I'm debuting yet, knowing that the GCSE window starts in May, and the Easter holidays, Cos Expo is the weekend before the Easter holidays, and the stress that's piling up is more stressful, being like, oh god, I've got to make this, and I've got to be a good teacher, and I've got to do that. And I also think that it's really hard when sort of like social media, when a lot of people that I know are like, I've just made this, I've just done this, and you feel inferior because you haven't been able to do that because you've been busy, or because when I've got home all I've wanted to do is read a book. I haven't wanted to go and cut my material up or make foam props. Like I've got all the stuff I need to make one of my costumes. It's just sat in my spare room because the thought of it when I get home makes me want to cry because I'm like, I'm doing too much anyway. But then I'll spend a weekend with my mum making a costume and I'll feel the most relaxed I've ever felt. So it's this really weird double-edged sword where some days I'm like, I'm going to sit and I'm going to make and it's going to be amazing. And other days, if someone even mentions the idea of sewing to me, I'm likely to snap at them. So it's really difficult because it is this completely like duality of, yeah, it's great, but it also can make you feel like absolute shit.
Fair enough. Okay, all right.
Hang on.
So
Did I get him speechless? Can we just have this for posterity, please?
Absolutely.
You can't see this, but fuck off. Sticking them on my two fingers.
I felt
at you.
it, don't worry.
No. Oh, I bet you did. Oh god, sorry, I shouldn't say things like that.
Wow.
Well, that's me cancelled for 2023. See you guys.
Oh,
Bye.
4 days in. Fantastic.
4 days in.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, when's the last time you felt cosplay has actually contributed to burnout for you, Erin?
So it was before I made Jessie, I hadn't made anything for ages. I bought costumes because I just didn't have the time. But when I was an NQT, and this is 2 years ago, and they've actually scrapped that now. So for anyone who's listening, NQT means newly qualified teacher, and it used to be your first year of teaching, you were an NQT. And what that meant was you were observed constantly, you had to be watched, you had like formal reports you had to fill in. And that was less stressful than my training year, but one of the most stressful years of my life. And I really wanted to make costumes then because I was really motivated, but I just couldn't juggle all of the things. I just couldn't do it. And it's one of those things, I've talked about it before, having a career, which teaching is a career, and I fully accept that it's my choice. I put myself here. You know, I love my job. I wouldn't want to do anything else. But trying to juggle a career and something as intensive, something has to give, and my job couldn't give. I couldn't stop achieving at work. I couldn't fail the kids. So I had to drop cosplay because I was just too burnt out to even think about it. So it was like 2 years ago, and I'm just getting it back. Like, I went to my first con, like post COVID, October 2021. Before then, I hadn't been since about 2015.
Oh wow!
Damn.
Oh wow! But that was life stopping you doing cosplay that caused that burnt up,
Yeah,
correct?
because if I did them all, I wouldn't do any of them.
Oh right, because if you kept on doing cosplay, something else would have given. Oh, okay,
I had
gotcha.
to
Sorry,
choose
yeah.
which one was going to give, and I couldn't drop my career.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. 100. Well, I was going to ask the question: do you think you made the right decision? Well, clearly, if it's for your career, then yes, that is. I've always said cosplays is just a bit of fun, just a bit of people just getting together and just like, wearing a bit of costume, having a bit of fun, and it's meant to like relax you. You're supposed to escape from your life, from your day-to-day life. Okay, then that's interesting. I'm going to give Siobhan a bit more time, and I'm going to step in here. I had a moment last year around about the summertime. I was due to go up to MegaCon Manchester. I think that's scheduled around about August time. No, that can't be right. July time. July. And I think I remember just finishing off a project. I can't remember which project it was. And I was trying to like probably getting a podcast out, maybe maintain the website, this, that, and the other, work and all that. And I just remember just sitting in my room finishing whatever project I was doing, and I kept looking at the train timetables and I was just going, because I didn't want to drive because I thought I can probably either get an Uber from the station to where I need to go, because I don't know Manchester that well, but I'm sure I would have been fine. And I just kept looking over and over again, like every day, checking the train timetable, saying, okay, it's gone this expensive, that expensive. Oh God, okay, all right. Oh right, I might have to drive up now and things like that. And I kind of like just went, like you were saying, it's just that notion of just being numb to it. I just went, do you know what? I just can't go. Not because I don't want to go, but I think I need to not go for my own mental health or my own benefit. Because if I don't not go, if I do go, I think I'm putting on more stress, but also exhaustion on top of me. So I don't know if that's just what I mean by earlier when I said I don't know what I was experiencing, was it exhaustion or burnout, or if those are the same thing.
You might have just caught yourself before, like, a really bad wave of burnout. You might have already been sort of slightly burnt from, previous projects and other conventions and things, because that time of year is very convention heavy. So it's probably wise that you listened to yourself and went, no, if I do this, it's just gonna make it worse.
Yeah, because I was only going to go up for the day, so I was going to go day there and back, and I've done that for Birmingham, which it's okay because I know it's direct to the NEC, so I can just hop off the train, go straight into the convention centre. But when I get to Manchester, I then have to like find a way to get there. I don't know if I can walk there, take a taxi or not, or take a tram, things like that. So I think that's my only notion that I can think of, which burnout has caused, has been caused in cosplay. But I always say this because my parents always say to me, they go, Eddie, you spend all day in front of a computer at work. Why do you spend your free time in front of a computer still? And I went, well, I stare at a computer because I'm trying to fix something. I'm using my brain for this and that and the other. When I'm editing photos, that actually calms me. That actually like de-stresses me. So I find cosplay photography at the moment such a calming effect on me. I would say at least 95% of the time, if not higher than that. So like I said, because it's so rare for me to go, oh my God, this has caused me stress. Oh my God, I can't think. Oh my God. Yes, I am overwhelmed by the amount of photos I need to get done at times, but I'm learning to do what I can do, not force myself to do everything at once. If I can only do X amount, then just leave it at X amount. I'm only human, really. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at, what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I do, I find cosplay very, majority of the time, relaxing, but just that one moment of just went, oh my God, I got to stop looking up training timetables, got to stop looking at these photos, I've got to finish that off and then give myself a month break, something like that. It really was helpful. I think the moment of truth is upon us.
You're building
So,
this up like it's like an absolute epilogue. Jeez.
well, yes, but I mean, I wanted to give you a platform so that you can succinctly give out what happened to you, because part of the notion that gave me this idea was one of your Instagram stories. So I don't want to use your
No.
what's the word, your maybe one of your worst points in your life as this is be a great podcast topic.
Oh no,
let's go.
I've had worse moments. That's fine.
Fair enough, but I didn't want to ring you up. Hey, you know that meltdown you had on Instagram? Can I use that? And would you like to be a guest on it? I didn't want to be doing that.
Like, I know you're not great at the moment, but just log on.
Yeah, just log on right now and just start talking to the microphone. That'd be great. No, the floor is yours.
Oh God. Geez, mental health warning. Yeah. So I won't go too deep. Don't worry. But yeah, basically, MCM May last year was one of the first cons I'd done that year, apart from Cos Expo. But it was like the full 3 days shooting non-stop. Shooting far too many people. I did work out how many groups and people I shot, and it was just ridiculous. And it was too much. It was physically exhausting because it was the heat of May. It was hot. We're all getting sunburnt and dehydrated very quickly. And I remember being on the train home on the underground, just physically exhausted, mentally drained, because I've been talking to people for the whole weekend, like friends, cosplayers I've never met before, stall holders, you name it. I've been talking to them because you try and be extroverted at these events, and then the introvert in you is like, what did we do? Why did we do that? Me at every social gathering. And I just remember being on the train on the way home and just kind of barely standing and just like, I just want to cry. I'm so tired. And then I kind of got home and I just threw my camera. Well, I didn't throw my camera back. I put my camera bag in a corner. I threw it with my eyes.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you actually threw your camera bag, there'll be a different issue while you're crying. But
yeah. Because the idea of importing the photos, like sorting them out into albums and going through them was just too much because I'd shot so many photos. I was like, I do not have the mental capacity to go through these right now. And then kind of I think June went past. I think I did a couple shoots in June. July went past. I'm not sure what happened. Like, honestly. And I think it got to the end of sort of August, beginning of September, where I kind of went, I really need to edit MCM at some point. And then realized that 2+ months had gone past, and I was like, I don't know what I've done. And I know I've done stuff because I've got photos on my phone of like going to Ren Fair, going to my friend's birthday, and going to like a whole tank shoot, which I'd completely forgotten about because I still have the photos like that I haven't edited because they just don't exist in my brain. So it's literally taken me till like I think October. And I'm going to be honest, I did seek medical help. I did talk to a GP and was like, my brain no work. It's too much. As people, I'm quite candid about talking about mental health and stuff, and I do deal with depression and anxiety, which go hand in hand. They're great. They hate each other. But also trying to look for a diagnosis for ADHD. So I did start medication, which was the best decision I've ever made in my life, apart from quitting retail. And since taking that, I've become more conscious, if that makes sense. So sort of reawakening, going, oh, I have a list of things that need doing that I haven't done because I haven't been aware of them. Because they just, nothing is, I can't tell you what I did for those 2 months. Apart
Really?
from, I know.
I mean, besides looking at photos, you really
Yeah.
can't remember.
No,
Wow.
no, couldn't tell you.
It reminds me of a story about. So, have you heard of a TV show called Malcolm in the Middle?
Yes. Oh my God, I remember that.
I can't remember his name. Is it Frankie Muntz? Or...
Muniz.
Yeah, he can't remember anything of that TV show. And I don't know if that's due to burnout or I'll put other external factors. I can't remember what happened, but apparently he like rewatches that show as when he's now older, and he goes, I don't remember any of this. And it's really weird that, like, sometimes I'm absent-minded, but to have to lose 2-3 months of not knowing really where that time has gone, I find that frightening, and I'm sure that's go on.
It wasn't until I kind of thought about it, and I was like, oh, I used to do this, and like I can't remember. I ended up talking to someone, and I was like, oh, we need to do Halloween like next month, and they went, this month. And I went, what? I was like, what? And they're like, it's October, and I was like, okay, I guess. I spoke to my mum at one point, and I was like, oh, we haven't, let's go for a coffee. I haven't seen you in a while. And she's like, yeah, it's been like 2 months, and I was like, I swear I saw you like 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, jeez. Wow.
I'm also a terrible child, and that I don't message my parents all the time.
Yeah, I know. My mum's always bugging me about, why don't you call me? Why don't you send me a message?
Yeah.
And I know what I'm going to get if I call you or text you. But yeah. But sorry, carry on. I shouldn't be interrupting you. Carry on.
No, you're fine. I explained to my mum, like, oh, this is kind of what's going on a bit. And she was like, oh, is that why you don't respond to text messages? And I was like, probably. Because I probably read them and then put it down, and then they don't exist.
Do you think that was burnout then? That what you went through, or just something else?
I believe so. It was very sort of similar to after I quit retail. That kind of not really doing anything. My other half would come home and be like, "What have you eaten today?" And I'd be like, don't know.
Do you know you've eaten something, or again? That's
usually, if there's a mess in the kitchen,
Wow. Okay. No.
Yeah, you sort of autopilot. You're just like, I know I need to function, but the body's doing it, and the brain's not really. Like if you drive and then you get home, you're like, oh my God, when did I get home? Like,
that is me every day. I do not remember how I get to work or home from work.
It's terrifying.
I just park up and I'm like, oh shit. We did the motorway today.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently that's a form of epilepsy.
Oh, great.
No, it's not like full-blown epilepsy, but it's like you're still in control, you're still going on, but you're just not. You're in, like you said, in autopilot mode.
Let's just link that onto the brain tumor that WebMD says I have. Every time I have a headache.
Yeah. I actually had a friend who had that form of epilepsy.
Oh wow!
She ended up crashing her car and then lost her license for a while.
Yeah, I've had friends who have like had proper, not proper full-blown epilepsy, but at least diagnosed epilepsy, and her license was taken away for her safety because of that. And she couldn't do anything for about, I think, a year or two.
You lose it for 6 months to start with, and then if it's not under control, they just keep tacking 6 months on.
Yeah, she lost hers when she was 19, and she's just got her license back, and she's now 29 to 10 years.
Bloody hell!
I mean, she's had so much, they're called absence seizures. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I can't correct you, so carry on.
Citation needed. But yeah, it's frightening. So.
Yeah, but carry on.
I don't have epilepsy. I'm just going to say that.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
But, no, it is a form of dissociation. So it's where you kind of just disappear into your own brain, and then kind of at some point you just kind of pop back to the front and go, "Oh, hello."
Hello, I'm back.
Hi.
Hello, where you been? No, I was gonna say, like it's very brave of you to like share that your personal experience online with people. Was there a conscious decision of that? Is it just to let people know why they haven't seen their photos for a while? Because I know because photography now is your full-time gig, I can understand that paid gig comes first all the time. And things like that, but was it a conscious decision so that you were letting people know, oh, these reasons these photos haven't turned up because of X, Y, and Z, or was it the underlining message that you have gone through trauma of some sort, a burnout type of thing, that you wanted other people to recognize that and go, oh shit, this may be happening to me as well?
Well, there's two reasons really. One is guilt, which is an issue I need to deal with within my own sanity. Is yes, paid shoots always come first because paying clients are more important.
And if people don't understand that, get to the back of the queue.
Yeah, exactly. But then because I was aware of how much time had lapsed, I'm like, oh my god, no wonder people are starting to like, is everything okay? And I'm getting those kind of messages come through. So there was that kind of, oh shit, like this is the longest I've left it, for a long while. And, some people I've never worked with before probably don't know it takes X amount of time, whatever. So I was like, for that reason, just to be like, I need to say something, just to kind of, I haven't forgotten about them. It's very much, I haven't forgotten about them. I'm very aware about it. And the second reason is I'm very open about talking about mental health and things like that because it is important. Some people might be uncomfortable, like, oh, she's just mental, she's insane, she's having a meltdown, whatever. But I will always have conversations about mental health openly and be like, hey, this is what's going on. If you don't like it, don't read it, but this is the truth. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm busy, I'll get to them when I get to them. It's like, hey, no, my brain's fucked up and I'm now medicated for it.
Yeah. No,
I'll get to it when I get to it. And they're like, and most people are like, oh my god, okay, yeah, that's fine. And it's not for sympathy.
I was gonna say, do you shake the medicine bottle just to prove it to people? Say, look, listen.
Yeah, here you go. Here you go. But it's just like, I don't do it for sympathy. It's like I don't want people to like, oh, she's just crying again. Like, no. It's just I want to give people like, this is the reality of what's going on.
No, that's fine. I want to bring Erin on this very quickly. Just is there anything you want to contribute to what Siobhan has been saying? Do you sympathise with her? Do you think she's just batshit crazy?
No, she's like, wow, I am batshit crazy. Yeah.
No. Obviously, I'm just saying it for comic effect. But is there something you want to like contribute to say?
Feel free to ask me anything as well. I'm
Oh, is this a Reddit AMA? Shall I?
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
No, go for it.
I think I relate. Like I said, I drive to and from work most days and don't remember how I got to and from work because I'm doing everything on autopilot. And where I've been teaching the same scheme of work at work, I can do a lot of it without needing to think about it, which in theory is fantastic. In practice means I'm just inside my own head all the time. And I'm constantly, because I'm an anxious person, overthinking any interaction I ever have. And like if I get an email that's a little bit snippier than usual, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm getting fired. Oh god. But because I can teach the content now without needing to rely on a PowerPoint or like a script or whatever, my brain will just be like, hey, what did you say that upset that person? Whilst you're delivering this lesson on Shakespeare, what did you say? What did you do? And it is that idea of like retreating into yourself where your brain just goes, no, actually, I'm good. And then you come out like a little bit dazed and you're like, oh shit, okay, the world is still here. That's where I left it. That's good. Don't know what day it is. Don't know what time it is. Because my boyfriend said to me that I don't know how to relax. When I have time off work, I can't just sit unless I'm literally sat there literally staring at something blankly because my brain's turned off. And not knowing how to relax is a really big part of burnout, because I always feel like I have to be doing something. Like I've got these really strict rules for myself. Like I have to do the laundry, I have to tidy up, I have to be doing this. I could just be sat playing The Witcher, but my brain's like, no, you need to do this, you need to do that, because I don't know how to relax or how to turn it off except when it does it for me. And I think that's part of the burnout process, is maybe not full-blown burnout where I've had a meltdown and lived in a haze, but there are periods of time where my brain feels like it's just full and it's fuzzy and it's fluffy and I can't do anything except go through the motions. And luckily for me, my motions are teaching the lessons to a good standard, but there are days where I will come out of a lesson and be like, I think I taught a lesson on Shakespeare. I don't fucking know. Possibly. And the kids are like, oh yeah, miss, it was great. I'm like, fucking was it? All right, cool. Banging.
Is that why all teachers start off, right, what did we do last time?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Also,
Oh
we've
my
all had
God.
COVID, so like our brains don't work. Our brains are Swiss cheese. We've all had COVID.
Oh, bless.
You've just blown the whole teaching gig.
I have.
You've just, so what do we do? Take notes, take notes. Okay, this is, oh, good. You remembered. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, well, no, I'm glad. I'm glad we're very open about it, and you know, like with mental health, I'm a big advocate of it, and I'd always say if you ever need to talk to someone, even if it's someone on a professional level or to a friend or family, that can only be a benefit. And if you're not getting, just keep talking to someone. Don't ever feel like you're trapped inside your own head. Sorry, this feels like a Jerry Springer ending, end of thing, which is not, because we've still got loads of things to talk about. Which I'll stick with Erin on this one. And as you were talking about job and personal life, especially cosplay life, do you find it hard to juggle between the two? Then both your career as well as your cosplay life or personal life, even.
Oh yeah, so teaching is a really regulated career. It's almost like finance and how strictly regulated we are. We have to read this thing called KICSI, which is Keeping Children Safe in Education. We have to read that every year because it changes every year. We have to do training on all the horrible stuff no one wants to think about, like FGM. That's enough to make your brain hurt. But it's very intense, and the media love to say, oh, well, they work 9 to 3. Yeah, sure. I work 9 to 3. I work 7:30 till 4:30, actually, but okay. But it's not 9 to 3 around my contact hours. And if I have a 5-period day, which I have tomorrow and Friday and Monday, that's 5 hours where I'm talking constantly, I'm thinking constantly, I'm working constantly. I haven't got any time in between to do anything, so I have to do it in my after work time or my before work time. And then the idea of going home and building a costume actually makes me want to just like rip my arms off, because I'm like, no, if I don't have any arms I can't make anything, so I might as well just take them off. It's really hard to balance a career, especially when it's so intense, because everyone's like, oh, but teachers get all that time off. Yeah, I need like 3 weeks of the summer just to recover from the summer term. Because it's so intense with exams and stuff. And I think it's really hard to explain to someone who's not been in a school or like a learning support assistant, because you remember what going to school is like, you remember what doing your exams is like. I've got 29 kids whose results sit on my shoulders, whose parents can come to me if they fail and be like, you didn't do enough. And that's going to be every year for the rest of my working life. And that is con time. Exam season is con time. I haven't got any time to make costumes. And it's just, like I said before, really annoying, because I want to and I love making costumes, and I see everybody else just getting on with it, and I'm just like, why can't I get on with it? What is wrong with me that I'm sat here unable to do anything about it? Like, why?
I could see why earlier you were saying how you were going through so much. I'll use the word turmoil. Correct me if I'm using the wrong terminology, but you had to then stop cosplay for a good number of years just to like give yourself that extra time for it. But it sounds like you're trying to still balance everything up in the end. It's such a fine balancing act, juggling all of these at once, and just this one little thing could just topple a lorry. Have I got that right?
Oh, absolutely. I am about 4 seconds away from a breakdown on any day.
Oh God.
One minor inconvenience is all it's going to take.
I love how we're all laughing about it. Yay! Mental health. No, I was saying this at a New Year's party, and just everything we just then said at the end of it was just arms in the air going, mental health, just to say, oh, this has gone wrong, mental health. Oh, that got burnt, mental health. Things like that. So
my tumble dryer stopped working, and I cried for 20 minutes. Like, it's a tumble dryer. Get over it, Erin. No, I cried for 20 minutes.
Look, if it broke, it broke. I totally understand that. I want to shift it quickly to Siobhan, because you're all, like you've mentioned before on the podcast, that you're now self-employed, but both currently as a self-employed photographer, but also in your previous guys, in your other job, in your old job, was it hard to juggle everything?
Yeah. I suppose the good thing about I'll say there's a good thing about retail. There is no good thing.
No,
the only positive, no. The only thing is where I used to work, it'd be very quiet some days. Middle of summer, everyone's outside. No one is inside, like in my little shop. And it would actually be a good time for me to sort of stop, unwind, make all the to-do lists. And I actually used to watch TV shows behind the counter. I actually, towards the end of my work life there, I bought AirPods because I could hide them under my hair. Like that was like the only little bit of reprieve I got from everything else, because I couldn't edit because I was at work, because I wasn't allowed to take my laptop in, or, wasn't allowed to do anything. So I could message people and be like, hey, this would be a really cool idea, but that's about as far as it went. I couldn't do anything else, so it actually gave me some time to sort of chill out. But then work got stressful, so that was fun. Majority being other colleagues who were just fucking incompetent, and they were doing my nut in. And then they had the gall to put a grievance against me for bullying. And I was like, it's not bullying if it wouldn't be bullying if you did your job right. So I'm that colleague. And then all sorts of shit hit the fan. So it was I think as well, there's always this pressure to be constantly doing something. Like, when I was at work, I'd be like, right, when I get home, I'm going to do X, Y, Z because this needs doing, that needs doing, and then I can do this. But then I'd have like that shitty Karen of a woman asking me some stupid question and would wind me up so much. I'd get home and be like, no, I'm now not in the mood to send that link that rando wanted or something. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I refuse to do this. Like, I just need to not exist for 20 minutes.
I'm noticing a pattern here. Are you sure the problem's not just you? I'm joking.
100%, yeah. I'm the problem in everything.
I was joking. I was honestly joking. No,
it's called anxiety, Eddie.
Mental health.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Like I said earlier, I don't want to dismiss what you just said earlier, but it's just like, it's really weird listening to you two talk about it, because like, I've been stressed at work. I think I'm quite disciplined about trying to separate work from social life. So I've always said to any employer, you have me between 9 to 5. I'll stay longer if I need to, if there's an urgent matter or things like that. But come 5 o'clock, I'm out that door and I stop thinking about work. If I'm given an hour lunch, that hour's mine. That is for me. I'll do something else, like work on my website, or go internet shopping, something like that. That time is my time. Things like that. And I don't know if that's really helped me keep things separated, segregate between work life and social life and things like that. I say social life, I mean, I don't have a social life. I spend all my free time working on my website and things like that. Yeah, well, it's social life. Don't. And like, I'm just like, yeah, it's not like I can't relate, but I just don't. Like I said, I've been stressed, but I don't think it's caused me burnout, and I don't think I'm that bad about juggling between career and my life. Because at the end of the day, my career is my career. That will always pay my bills. Should I miss something about cosplay, like if I forgot to post this article up or podcast or not sent this photo to someone, they can wait. They can wait an extra hour or so or an extra day or two. But my career, sometimes I do think that I know that's more important. But like I said, I know when to start thinking about work and when I start finishing work. Like I said, sometimes I would stay longer just so that if I'm going to keep on thinking about work, I must as well stay longer and complete this to an extent where I can feel like I'm happy to leave it and then come back another day, coming hopefully, freshly, with a good night's sleep, with food in my belly, and then go right. It's new day, new solutions. Come on, now, let's get going, type of thing.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I actually like admire your separation between your sort of professional career and like all you do with food and cosplay. Because I've always admired, like, I forget you work. I don't know if it's a 9 to 5 or whatever,
Yeah.
but then because your posts online are so consistent, and I'm just like, you must spend forever. Like, it takes me hours to just do a week because I'm just like, this is boring. I don't want to schedule stuff, but social media is so important, so you have to.
I have to use as many tricks in the book to make sure that these things go out as I want it to. I try as many, like I said, many free services. I mentioned before, I use buffer.com to schedule some stuff. What else? I use WordPress for my website. That just currently it's sharing things out to social media, but I don't know if that's going to change soon or not.
Well, hopefully it's okay.
Yeah. That was a chat before we hit the record button. So I try to use as much as I can to like schedule things up, in the future, and then I do spend like a solid half a day either at the weekends or in the evenings and just queue up cosplay photos as far as I can, and then do other things. I did a podcast with Candy Valentina about cosplay admin, which I was going to invite someone, but they forgot.
Is that me?
Yes.
I was going to say, oh no, is someone else forgotten? Or was that the one time I forgot?
I think you either forgot, but I will let you off because if you're having such a
was it during those 2 months?
It might have been actually. It might have been actually. So I will let you. I probably shouldn't call you out like that.
Now you know why.
Yeah, now I know why. But no,
I actually wrote this in my diary for today.
Yeah, good, thank you. But no, this is what I'm saying. It's because I'm no one. I've always said to others, I want food and cosplay to look as professional as possible. I want to trick people to think there's a whole team behind food and cosplay, but actually it's just me. But I got to start reminding people that no, it's just me. I'm the one that runs everything: the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, TikTok, the website, everything. There's no team, and yet I fit this all in somehow. I mean, that's probably why I'm a single man at the moment. But yeah,
I've got no room for anything else.
I've got no room for anything else.
No.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to move along because I've just noticed the clock, and I think we should try to wrap this up soon. So, I hope we can fit these two in. But I mean, Siobhan, how do you deal with your burnout?
Apart from medication? No.
Well, that's still a valid response.
Yeah. It is a valid response. No. It's sort of just accepting. You kind of having a moment to reflect and kind of being like, okay, so this was a time. And as much as I can sit there and go, right, well, I need to do this and that and listen, and then the list is taller than I am, which isn't hard, but you sort of just take one day at a time, the first day I try and accomplish one thing, whether that's take the bin out, doesn't
Yeah.
have to be to do with work.
Mm.
Second day, trying to accomplish like 2 things. It's like, oh, I put laundry on, and then I've uploaded this one photo. Like, that's still an achievement.
Yeah.
So it does take some time to sort of get back and find a rhythm that's comfortable until you sort of think what is quote unquote normal. I'm still trying to work that out.
Fair enough.
Trouble is, when you're self-employed, when you think about your job, you can't leave it at the office and walk home.
No.
It follows you everywhere.
Oh God. Oh, I'm so glad I'm not self-employed because I saw my parents being self-employed, working a Chinese takeaway. I know, shock horror. But yeah, I just saw how much work goes into it. But no, I need something where a lot of things are already in place. I just come in, do my job, and leave. Things like that.
This is
Yeah,
the
go
same
on.
thing with teachers as well. Like, I never realized I've got a friend who's a teacher, and she's like, "Oh, I've spent hours marking, and I haven't had dinner yet." And I'm like, "Why? Like, you finish work. What time does school finish? That's when your job finishes. You don't take it home." She's like, "No, you have to." I'm sure Erin will agree.
It is an
Yeah.
expectation, but
Yeah,
it is an
I'd be like,
expectation that can get fucked.
it's like, you're not getting paid for this hours where you're sat at home marking. Like, if that was me, I'd be like, no, I'm doing it like during, like, you guys can sit in colour and I'm gonna mark this bullshit. I wouldn't be a good teacher.
To be fair, I have an agreement with my boss. I will stay till 4 o'clock every day. School finishes at 10 to 3, and if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done until the next day. The only time I break that is when we've got mocks where we have a really tight turnaround for marking. But normally, my boss is great. I'll just be like, look, if it doesn't get done today, it's going to get done tomorrow. But I'm going home now. Goodbye.
See, that's good. That's healthy.
Mm.
Said friend will like, oh, it's like 11 at night and I'm still going, and I'm like, go to bed. Right? What are you doing? You've been up since 6. What are you
Gosh.
doing?
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
Erin, I want to bring you in on this. So, how would you deal with the breakdown? Let me start again.
That's my
It's
angle of the
coming.
breakdown.
Let me ask that question again.
Give it time.
Ask me again in about 2 weeks.
Hang on, let me. So, Erin, I just want to quickly, because we're running out of time, because I've got one more to ask. Maybe, how do you deal with your burnout?
So a really fun and cool fact about me is when I get burnout, my body goes ah, and just shunts me headfirst into either a fibromyalgia flare or a migraine that lasts for 3 weeks, which is what's just happened. So people at work, and it's quite funny because you can track how concerned people are by me by sort of the color of my face, because when I take my migraine pills, it makes you like paper white, and I'm fucking pale anyway. Like, I blend into the walls. I am that pale. But I will take the migraine med because burnout has triggered this migraine. And one of my boss's bosses looked at me and went, "Mate, please go home." So I did. But it's trying to manage that really, and I realized what it was afterwards. We broke up for the Christmas break, and suddenly I was like, "Wow, I feel much better." Oh yeah, that tracks actually. And it's just managing the side effects of burnout, where someone said to me once, if you don't take a break, your body will take one for you, and it will not be an appropriate time for it to take a break. So I used to be really stressed about calling in sick to work. I hate calling in sick. It's my least favorite thing to do. I will send like 17 apology texts, 3 apology emails, a groveling message on an answer phone. I hate calling in sick. It's my least favorite thing. The school I'm at now, I think they're all just actual angels in disguise, because they will be like, take the day and take tomorrow if you need it. You don't need to call us. It's going to be fine. So being able to actually use sick days and not feel like a bitch for doing it, when in every like retail they were like, "What the fuck do you mean you're not coming in?"
Oh, don't.
Right? But with the job I'm in, they go, "Oh, you're not coming in today? Cool. Go back to bed. Let us know when you're feeling okay. We'll deal with it." And that's where I'm in a really supportive environment. Although teaching is a very, very stressful career, the school can make or break a teacher. If you're in a school that's not supportive, like Siobhan's friend, where the expectation is you mark till midnight, then you're going to get hit with that. Whereas if you're in a school like mine, where every single person I speak to is beautiful and kind and wonderful, when I'm getting the flickers of burnout, lightly singed as opposed to, char grilled, I can be like, you know what? It's triggered this headache. I can't do anything. I'm just going to take today. And it's that helpful break where my body's not taking it for me, but it's giving me the warning signs of, if you don't, this is going to get worse. Being able to take that time is really helpful.
Absolutely. Well, I forgot to mention that I looked it up how to, what should I say, professional websites say. So I'm on the Mind website, mind.org.uk, and they've got an article about it. And basically, I'll just take the titles of it. And you're probably echoing what you've just said, but it says make sure you take you take your annual leave, get enough sleep, try to finish work on time, schedule time in for pleasure activities, ask help if you need it. So, but it's, I think, like I said, sometimes when I've reached my limits, I think I just end up sleeping a lot. I think I just end up just not getting out of bed, and it's sometimes it's a really horrible thing that happens because you're going, I need to do, because you're saying, we're all saying it's like, oh, we feel like we need to fill in this dead space time with something, but actually doing nothing is as important than doing something. Because if you're constantly doing something, then you're never going to give your body that rest, that time to recover. Like I think it was Erin that was saying that, or well, it's actually, there's only two of you, so it's either Erin or Siobhan. But you know what I'm saying. Oh my god. Oh my god. No, but I was just saying, if you don't give your body a break from, I'm trying to relate this podcast to anyone listening. If you've got a cosplay build and you're trying to hit this deadline, or say, I want to wear this for, let's say, MegaCon Birmingham in March, or MCM London in May, or EGX in October. You got these dates. These dates are coming, but you're about to miss it. Do you know what? Let it pass. If you can't get it done, is it really worth the stress over it? Yeah, you may be aiming to get for a competition or not, but I would just say, just drop out and learn from it, and just say, right, I didn't plan this well enough. Let me do it better next time. Or can I take this costume to a different event? Or it's not wasted. Maybe rather than trying to win this competition, maybe I just use it as a chance to go to a location shoot and get that photograph type of things. Like, it is not. I think we all agree that cosplay itself is meant to be an enjoyable experience. But once that enjoyable experience emotion disappears, what's left? Kind of thing. It's like, I don't want to know that answer really, but I think we all know what that answer really is. But we just don't want to look at it too hard, just in case the light burns our eyes, like the covenant of the Indiana Jones. But things like that. So yeah, I just want to wrap up very quickly with just a one-line advice from you, Erin, but then Siobhan later. But from you, Erin, what advice would you give about you would give relating to burnout, either how to recognize it or how to deal with it? Go on.
Learn your body's warning signs and learn from them. Don't be me. Don't be 3 weeks into a headache because your dumb bitch ass went, it'll be fine, when it absolutely would not.
Siobhan.
I was torn between two things. I think I was like, do I take the Starkey answer or the actual heartfelt? But no. In regards to cosplays and cosplayers, I see so many people con crunch before a convention, and then they burn themselves out, and then they have a shit time at con because they're so fucking tired and because they're burned out. It's like, you do not have to meet these deadlines. People don't mind if you rewear. I personally, as a photographer, love it when people rewear because I sometimes miss them in previous conventions, and then they never wear that costume again. It's fucking annoying. But also remember that you are allowed. I'm giving you permission. Everyone, you're allowed to take a day for yourself. It is not selfish. And if anyone in your work has a problem with it, give them my email.
And her email is Siobhan at that bitch in the corner.
Yeah, no, honestly, I don't have time for these bosses that are like, we should short staffed. Well, that's you. That's your problem.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't know. I will fight your corner. I'll fight anyone's corner with good cause.
Excellent. Woo! I'm trying to think of. I think I might have said it before, so I'm just going to say, just rewind the podcast a little bit. You've got my little 2 cents worth. Thank you very much for talking about Burnout in cosplay. I probably wasn't that cosplay orientated, but I hope on a general level we did talk about Burnout, and hopefully people are a little bit more aware of it and can spot it and try not to get that far with either cosplay or anything else in their lives. Erin, if they want to find your work on social media, so they want to talk to you, whatever, where can they find you?
You can find me at Ottery Khaleesi on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find, I'm a bit like Eddie, I have 2. You can also find me at Erin the Bookmoth on Instagram and TikTok if you are interested in all things books.
Cool. And Siobhan?
I've taken a page out of Eddie's book, and you can find me like all my links on linktree.com/shillphotos.
Thief! You thief! God damn it!
Yeah, I've learned. It's taken how many podcasts?
Well, nice to know you've taken a page out of my book. Okay, I want that book back though. If you go to, I've now forgotten what I was going to say. If you go to foodandcosplay.org/links, you'll find all my social media links there. If you go to foodandcosplay.org, generally you'll find daily cosplay photos, articles, and other things. If you go to foodandcosplay.org/podcast, you'll find all the podcasts I've recorded, some with Erin, some with Siobhan, when she remembers to turn up.
I want you to look back and find me the date of that episode, and I want to know if it's in those 2 months.
Okay, we'll find out afterwards. Oh god, I'm gonna be so shot down for this. Oh god. If you go to patreon.com/foodandcosplay, if you've enjoyed this podcast and you want to help donate money to maintain this podcast, because honestly, every penny, every pound counts. And yeah, that's it really. So I just want to say, I just want to thank you to my guests. For talking about this. I will actually put into the podcast description links that I've got relating to mental health services that you can call or look up on the internet. Like I said, Mind is a good website, so that'd be great. So if there's nothing else to add, I'll say thank you one more time to Erin and Siobhan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Bloody
I told you,
like,
it's been a week and it's only Wednesday.
Oh no.
And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye and they're going to say goodbye. So bye guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Check diary.